Who's the idiot that said, trust your feelings, Luke? This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the September 26, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Granite Ridge Christian Camp, a place where your life can change. Okay, yeah, it's time for you to see me in a mature way, because it'd be so easy to go off the rails and start frothing at the mouth. The still shot I used for the opening of the show with me having my arms folded, that is homage to my brother Tim, because when the Rams lost when we were kids, you got to understand those initial years and the Chuck Knox years, when those were our formative years. He got in 72. I got in late in 72. By 73, we were full blown. And, those first, 42 games that Chuck Knox coached, the Rams were like 34-8. You just didn't lose. And when they did lose, they dropped something weird in Green Bay, or maybe they lost to, who was it? New Orleans in Tulane Stadium, or that Monday night game against Frisco where they lost 16-0. My brother would basically be sitting on the couch like this. And it was like, those are the days we didn't want to listen to the radio, watch Sunday Sports Final with Jim Hill, or even look at a newspaper. And, the newspapers were everything in those days. And so it was tough watching that Ram game yesterday. And in regards to my fanboy prediction of the Rams winning 38-21, let me have it, because I knew better. But I was living out that trust your feelings, let go. Go with what your heart is telling you. What a stupid thing to do. Feelings are as fake as a politician before the night before an election. And I paid the price. I got burned. As much as I believe in the Rams, I'm positive about this season, you still got to keep it honest. You still got to look at the cold, hard facts. And I looked at the cold, hard facts. I thought the Rams could win this game, but I realized I was leading with my heart when I said 38-21. Although I will say, before Tutu Atwell got jobbed on that touchdown, I was thinking, oh, yeah. Bengals missed the opening field goal. Rams come down, and in 4 plays, they score, only to have it ripped away from them in a Munich-like heist circa 72 against the Russians. Okay, getting to the game. I've avoided all media today. This will be a short show. It's just about this Rams game. We did our full show yesterday, and we're just going to talk about the Rams games today, and no looking at college football. We'll do a regular show tomorrow. I've avoided all media today, because I didn't want to hear anyone else's opinions. I knew I was going to come on later. I just wanted to stew for a while. And sometimes, we all join the chorus, right? Oh, someone said that, Stafford sucked, and so let's all get on the Stafford sucks case or train. And I just wanted to avoid everything. And so I avoided all media, with the exception of, I just noticed what happened in the game. I wanted to look at some stats briefly and the injury report. That's all I was looking for. So I avoided Ram talk, any undue influence. I don't want to think about it. So I just wanted to focus on what I saw last night and share that with you today. Thank you again for tuning in, subscribing, hitting likes, comments, those things. I can't tell you how encouraging it is every time you join us and every time you hit subscribe and like and ring the bell and follow us on Spotify. Hey, real quick here. Anyone who is talking trash about the Rams defense has no clue. Let me tell you what the Rams defense did against saintly Joe Burrow and that receiving core. 1 touchdown and 4 long field goals. Just 19 points. And that game may have felt last night in the second half like the Rams lost 36-16. But with all that bad and all that we saw, it was only 19-16. There was no defensive collapse last night. That happened with the Denver Broncos in Miami. That Ram defense played well. That was a one possession, one score from overtime or victory game. And that could have been accomplished if not for a couple of tipped passes, equal scrutiny of questionable replays, and a tweak at the line of scrimmage that maybe held off one of those sacks or one of those tipped balls. Congrats to Raheem and the guys. They did a great job. Loved how they played with those young defensive backs. Kobe, Darian Kendrick, and a little more experience, Akilla Witherspoon. Nice pick last night. They did a great job, and you saw them up and press, and I really, really appreciated that. They're competing, they're battling, and that means you're going to get burned sometimes. And with that said, can we stop to talk about Jamar Chase tearing the Rams apart? Oh, Jamar Chase had this breakout game. He made a lot of catches, but how many touchdowns did he score? It's being played like he was continually torching the secondary in Tyreek Hill fashion. Can somebody tell me how many TDs did Chase score last night? You know, what was the final again? Oh, yeah, 19-16. 4 long field goals and a rushing touchdown by Joe Mixon. You know, Tyreek Hill is off the charts. Jamar Chase is a really good receiver, but Jamar Chase did not torch the Rams last night. For what the Rams did, all the times they got off the field, gave opportunity, held them to field goals. They did their job. 19 points against that receiving core. The defense did a great job. Yes, Akilla Witherspoon's pick was amazing. T. Higgins, I don't know if that dude's really – does that dude know he's playing for a contract? I liked Witherspoon. I really loved what Russ East did. Very aggressive, very physical. And they didn't grade out well, but we know what we see with our eyes. And grading out well also, though, however, was Byron Young, Ernest Jones, Darian Kendrick, and Kobe Turner along with Aaron Donald, right? That's starting to look like a pretty good twosome there. Excited about that. If we can get another 4 years of Donald playing at a high level and a developing Kobe Turner, that's really, really encouraging. Moving over to the offense, the Tutu Atwell play in the first quarter that was ruled a touchdown on the field, right? Now, this didn't cost the Rams the game. This did not cost the Rams the game. It didn't help, but it didn't cost them the game. You could say those extra 4 points would have been the difference between a 19-16 loss and a 20-19 victory. But we know those things play out differently and how teams react when they're down by 7 instead of 3. But as he was ruled a touchdown on the field, was there really clearly enough evidence to overturn that ruling? I mean, conclusively, there was some doubt. There's some angles that looked good and other angles that didn't look good. And I was surprised because the ruling on the field was touchdown, and they really didn't look at that. I thought, Bengals are 0-2. Joe Burrow is one of the faces of the NFL. Let's keep Cincy present. That's how it felt, the conspiracy side of me. And then that first Logan Wilson pick, right? The one where Stafford was scrambling and he threw sidearm. Bad throw by Stafford, but also bad decision. And I'm going to say Stafford didn't have his best game, but a bad decision because he was expecting Van Jefferson to make a play on that ball. Now, this one wasn't necessarily Jefferson's fault, but know who you're throwing the ball to. But that Logan Wilson interception, was that looked at with the same diligence as Atwell's touchdown run? Seemed like that one got a pass, and it seemed like Atwell, they looked for every reason to overturn it. Just the conspiracy side of me. I don't know. Matthew Stafford, yes, came out gunning. I posted on social media. I said, he is just firing that ball into coverage, and he's striking those receivers right between the numbers. And it was scary. It was scary, but it shows the confidence he was playing with. It still, though, didn't turn out to be his best game. And the shame as he was getting his butt kicked, literally, he really does look healthy and for now to be in great shape. So I'm excited about that. But as that butt kicking was commencing in the second half, he started hurrying everything. You could tell that he was trying to get rid of that ball soon. And then he just made some poor throws. It was not his best game. Let me also ask you this. Maybe you heard it, so I'll take correction. How pathetic was the ESPN crew announcing last night? First, it was St. Joe. Let's make sure everyone loves Joe. Joe does everything well. And we're not talking Joe T, which would have been fine with me, but they were talking Joe Burrow. And as Zach Thomas is being chewed and meat grinded at left tackle in front of millions of people, all the announcers were talking about was this fantastic, wonderful, marvelous Cincinnati pass rush. They've really dialed it up. And you didn't hear a mention, I didn't hear a mention of Zach Thomas being in for Alaric Jackson until midway through the fourth quarter. And then they were talking about Joe Noteboom not being in the game, and Noteboom had only missed a couple of snaps and was already back in the game. It's like, what were they watching? They were talking about how great the breakout performance of Jamar Chase was, all those touchdowns he didn't score, and Joe Burrow being so great. It was a 19-16 game, and and the Rams didn't play well. So what are we talking about here? I just thought it was a really brutal announcing performance from a guy I generally like, which is Chris Fowler. Can't say much for the dudes in the booth with him. Ninth point, my question regarding last night was, how bad is Joe Noteboom's knee? The logical move after Jackson went down was to move Noteboom to move him to left tackle, where he has thrived in the past. And he legitimately got beat out by Jackson this year. But wouldn't he be your second best left tackle? And then bring in Ankrum. So I'm thinking it had to be his knee. Now, McVay said that they felt like making two position changes on the offensive line, meaning you lose Jackson and then you lose your right guard because he moves to left tackle, would have been more upsetting. Trey Hendrickson's on the edge there. I don't get what he meant by that. Trey Hendrickson was on the edge and trying to defend, not putting Noteboom out there versus Zach Thomas sounds like Brandon Staley trying to defend himself, going for it on fourth down at his own 24, when all he had to do was kick it away and trust his defense and the Vikings that had 0 timeouts. So they didn't move Noteboom. They brought in Zach Thomas, and Zach Thomas saw the first legitimate action of his pro career protecting Stafford's blind side, right? That's like asking a member of Congress, putting a member of Congress in a missile silo and hearing them say, hey, what does this button do? It was totally a ridiculous move. And I hold McVay responsible for that. And as bad as all that was taking place there, the Rams were still in this game. And I can't emphasize that enough. 10th point. I had this game as a loss in the spring. I had this game as a loss at the end of summer. It was only after the 49ers game that I saw this as an opportunity. And yes, I drank my own Kool-Aid. I went fanboy, forgetting this is a young Rams team, and that there's going to be big swings. And we all have to remember that. There's going to be swings. With all that said, again, 19-16. Literally 19-16. If they protect Stafford for one or two key more plays, right? If a few things happen just a slightly different way, there's a completely different outcome. And we could still be mad that the Rams won this game so poorly. If the Rams go 9-8 this year and miss the playoffs, this will be the game and the reason why. This will be the reason, because of how they played in this game. And again, young team, and that's how it goes. And I'll say it, I said it before, Stafford didn't play well, missed a lot of throws. I think he was rushing things, but I have no explanation for Sean McVay. No explanation for what he was doing at left tackle. None. That 49er game was one where I said the Rams needed to pound the ball through the air because you really weren't going to gain a lot of yardage against that 49er defense, and you needed to change things up. That was cool. That was a good move. Last night's game called for a more balanced attack because the Cincy front was vulnerable. Why Kyrie Williams wasn't given the ball at the 2-yard line after Atwell touchdown was called back, I do not know. Why give them an opportunity for the sack that they got or an incompletion in the end zone or something? Why not pound the ball? Your offensive line was moving the line of scrimmage at that point, and I didn't get it. And why, when Noteboom and Havenstein were plowing the right side of the offensive line, and Williams, you could see he was being given the ball, was making yardage, why didn't they just keep doing that? I don't know, right? Alaric Jackson goes out. Noteboom doesn't replace him, nor does Warren McClendon, who was inactive. So, okay, they go with Zach Thomas, and as he's being assaulted and abused by Trey Hendrickson, who's looking like the next TJ Watt, Steeler fan Rob in Missouri, I know Trey Hendrickson is not TJ Watt, but boy, Sean McVay made him look like he was. It was as big a mismatch I've seen in a regular season game for the Rams since the freak. Was it Javon Curse for the Titans? Literally destroyed Rams right tackle Fred Miller in the regular season game between the Rams and the Titans. And I will give credit, Miller tightened things up in the Super Bowl. But if you remember that game, Curse just went off. And I know only nerds like me remember that game. What I didn't understand is why McVay didn't park Higbee on that side of the line. I don't know why he didn't help Thomas out. I don't know why he wasn't using Williams to at least chip Hendrickson just a little bit. Just give Thomas just a little bit of help, buying an extra second for Stafford. And why he didn't move the pocket to give some time to Stafford, how he didn't roll him out away just to give some creative aspect to the offense there. Instead, he drops back. Hendrickson brings pressure or a sack. 6 sacks, 4 hits on Stafford. That's not going to work for a guy Stafford's age, no matter how great shape he is. I love McVay. I love John McKay too. I love Sean McVay. But Sean McVay, Mark Reber, you could have done a better job. I totally believe you. I love Sean McVay, greatest Ram coach of my lifetime, but he was not seeing the field last night. He just did not see the field, or he just became so focused. The peripherals were gone, and all he saw was his play sheet. And this was the reason the Rams were 1-11 on third down after being 11 of 17 against the Seahawks and 7 of 14 against the 49ers, the Super Bowl favorites this year. You got to do better than that against the Bengals. And I know Alaric Jackson is critical, right? But, you got to give somebody some help. And again, I much rather would have flirted with changing the right guard situation than I would have putting Zach Thomas out there at left tackle. I thought that was just a bad move, and then not give him any help. Have to believe, significant or not, regarding Jackson's thigh injury, the Rams will have to activate Kevin Dotson at guard for the game in Indy. It just has to happen. Alaric Jackson comes back, beautiful. Let's just say he plays. Noteboom is going to play. Let's bring Kevin Dotson back. So if Jackson goes down again, we've got Noteboom to move out there to left tackle, right? And then we can move Kevin Dotson, an experienced guard, in at right guard if we're not happy with Tremaine Ankrum. They got to get the experienced guy in there. I know he's probably learning the playbook and all that kind of stuff, but they have to do that. Finally, one game does not a season make. And I know this. You know this. The problem is the sports bar mentality, the KBM media, they will make it sound like it is the apocalypse. Sean McVay had a bad game, right? The defense had a great game. Stafford didn't have his best game. And there was some injuries there that were key. Obviously there's a concern from the offensive line, but by and large, we like our receivers. Cooper Kupp is coming back, and hopefully he'll stay healthy. And Atwell continues to prove that his week 1 performance was not a flash in the pan. I was sitting in the Ram Cave with Mid-Valley sports photographer Dwayne Barker last night, and I said, "Isn't it funny? Isn't it so funny that we're just 4 weeks removed from August, and Tutu Atwell was a bust. Now, 3 weeks into the season, you hear everyone talking about the Rams got to get that ball to their playmaker, Tutu Atwell. It's amazing how quick things change, right? So we love our receivers. Really starting to like our defense. And remember what we were talking about during the summer, that this defense, the first half of the season, was going to have struggles to find itself. I thought the struggles would be worse. I thought that 49er game back in the spring would be a 45-point game. I thought they would lose to the Seahawks on the road. I thought this game would be about a 35-7 game. The Bengals at home, Monday night, big crowd. The pseudo hype about some Super Bowl revenge, right? And you got a healthy Joe Burrow. Well, there wasn't a healthy Joe Burrow. But what we've seen over the course of the 3 weeks is our defense is capable. And this is, again, a young defense. And, people are needing things to complain about. So we complain about Michael Hoyt. But how come we're not talking about Byron Donald? How come we're not talking about the conductor, Kobe Turner? We need to talk about Darian Kendrick. We need to talk about the wisdom of bringing in Witherspoon, the development of Rust Yeast. This team is developed. Ernest Jones, this team is starting to develop. And we know Kobe Durant can play. He's not grading out great, but we know he can play. We like our defense. We like our receivers. We like our quarterback. What's up with Jackson's thigh, Noteboom's shoulder last week and knee this week? Other than that, we do like our offensive line. We have hope for our offensive line. So I truly believe, as we come to a quick end of this show, I truly believe the Rams are going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back, right? But what a great game to have stolen. What a great time to have gone 2-1 going into Indy, where I know the people on the road, the prognosticators are saying, the Colts are favored at home probably, especially now. You could have won that game in Indy and been, 3-1 heading into the Steelers, heading into Philly, heading into Dallas. And I'm looking at those teams. And I don't know, Philly doesn't look as scary to me as they looked a couple months ago. North Chicago, the North Georgia Eagles, they don't look as scary to me as they did before. Dallas doesn't look as scary to me as it did before. Pittsburgh doesn't look as scary to me as it did before, except in one way. If the Rams are ever going to think about running Zach Thomas out there against the Steelers, can we just not play the game and call it, right? You're not going to run Zach Thomas out there against those Steeler edge rushers, right? But those games seem competitive now where they didn't seem competitive before. The Steelers don't pick up the pace offensively with Kenny Pickett. If the Cowboys don't pick up the pace with Dak Prescott, there's issues there. Cardinals exposed the Cowboys. The Steelers are winning on grit and winning on some really good defense, and they need to pick that up. That 23-18 win against the Raiders was not impressive. Steeler fan Rob picking the score was impressive, but it wasn't impressive. It was the Raiders. And so knowing how well this Ram team can play, knowing the development of the defense, all those games are competitive now. And the Rams could be, 4-5, 5-4 at the break. I think they can beat Green Bay in Green Bay. I think they're going to beat the Cardinals. So opportunity is there. One game does not a season make. Learning experience, right? Sometimes coaches, they don't like to lose, but they look at those losses as an opportunity to yell and tell their young players, hey, guys, you need to tighten this up. And maybe somebody needs to pull old Sean aside. Maybe Les needs to pull Sean aside and say, bro, break off the game plan when your left tackle goes down. Figure something out. You're good enough to do that, and you need to adjust. All right. Hey, thank you to Dwayne. Thank you to Swords. Let's read those questions real quick here. Television is where you watch people in your living room that you would not want to hear near your house. Okay. I don't know what you're doing, bro. You're killing me. Steeler fan Rob, at least the Rams are doing better than most thought they would. Yeah, Steeler fan Rams are. And I'll give credit to you as a Steeler fan. They're finding ways to win when they shouldn't be winning. Good job for them. Tim Burns. Hey, Tim, I hope your surgery went well today. Keeping you in thought and prayer. Rams 36, Indy 24. I'm not ready to give a score yet because my bitterness over last night is still very strong in me. So I'm not giving it up yet because I want to make sure I don't give a fanboy prediction. I don't want to go Luke Skywalker and trust my feelings and let go. That's what I did. And for somebody who talks around football, I knew better and I blew it. So, hey, folks, good. We're at the 25-minute mark. I said this would be an abbreviated show. That was the broadcast team last night. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. Now I understand. Okay. Shout out to Mid-Valley Sports. I was one of the founding members at Mid-Valley Sports, midvalleysports.com. Check out Tim and Dwayne there. They are in the room covering the Chargers. If you think you got it bad here with the Rams losing last night, can you imagine being associated with the Chargers, the Ishmael of the NFL, and Brandon Staley? Oh, gross. Take it away. Take it away. But good luck to them. It was fun watching the game with you guys last night. Again, leave comments, hit likes, share with your friends, ask them to subscribe. We always value your opinion here. You can give me your predictions with a name. I will run your predictions in episodes, likely on Friday, or when I'm putting out my predictions. If Tim Burns, you want to hang on to that 36-24 score, if you don't rethink it by Friday, I'll be quoting you and putting you on the spot. Okay, this has been RamView, and I got to do this. Sorry.
It was a stone groove, my man.
Yeah, the show was a stone groove because you folks clicked on the Ram game wasn't a stone groove. Okay, folks, God bless. Take care. We will see you mañana.